Hey there, everybody! Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Rama, and in today's video, I will be showcasing every weaponized vehicle available in Grand Theft Auto Online. The other day, I did a video breaking into all of the armored vehicles, and some of them will be making a recurrence here, but we're also going to have a lot of new vehicles. I think weaponized are obviously the most sought-after types of vehicles in the game. So there's a couple criteria we actually have for the video. First of all, I'm not counting basic machine guns as weaponized. I know that a lot of people out there are probably going to be like, well, you forgot all the HSW cars and all the other machine gun mounted vehicles like the Ardent. Personally, I think these machine guns are useless, and if you're actually using them to try and kill people, it's just not weaponized. I can do just as much damage throwing a sticky bomb out of the window, and unless you count my arm as a weapon, I'm not going to put machine gun vehicles in the list. So all HSW cars don't count. Same thing for useless kinetic mines on the arena war vehicles and their front-mounted laser weapons. And same thing for mines. Unless your vehicle has explosive mines, I'm not going to be counting it in today's video. So with all of that aside, we're going to get straight into it. And I also have different variants, at least for the APC, as the APC has two different weapons that you can mount. We have the tank cannon. This is the same weapon that the Rhino tank has. So if you hop into the driver's seat here, we can see that it works just like a tank cannon and will blow anything up with the exact same reload. And then we have the missile barrage, which is just as dangerous. I really like the missiles. There's only 50 of them, where the tank cannon has unlimited ammo. But I mean, look at this thing. It is absolutely devastating. You can just keep shooting over and over and over and over until you run through all 50 of the weapons. Because of that, yeah, the APC has two incredibly dangerous choices for weaponry. Not only that, but the APCs can drive in water. They can survive upwards of 8 to 10 homing missiles. In general, the APC is one of the best weaponized vehicles in the game and is quite impressive. Then we arrive to the Dune FAV, which has two things going for it. First of all, you can drop explosive proximity mines, which we can see right here. These mines will do the same damage as a sticky bomb, and that's quite a bit, as you can see. Not only does it have that capability, but you can also swap over to the secondary seat, and you get a minigun, which does a lot of damage. Even a fully upgraded car like my JB700 gets taken out pretty quickly. The Dune FAV is not the best vehicle in the game, but it's a great beginner weaponized car, especially because the basic machine gun it has mounted on it does about the same damage as the minigun upgrade anyway, so it's actually just really fun to mess around with. We have the Death Bike, which has two miniguns mounted on it. However, it does the same damage as one minigun, so you can see they're just dual lasers. This is the only arena war vehicle to make today's video, and that is because of the fact that these weapons do actually deal a crap ton of damage. Now, you're not going to be able to survive any explosions, but still, this is a lot of damage on a very, very small motorcycle, and it is one of the only weaponized motorcycles apart from the Oppressor and Oppressor Mark II. We have the half track, which obviously has insane amounts of firepower. It has a ridiculous back-mounted machine gun, which, when used properly, can just devastate anything. Not only is it great for taking out things in the air due to the ridiculously high arc it has and gun elevation, but it's incredibly accurate and will blow up any car in about 2 to 3 seconds of shooting, which is kind of insane. It also has the same proximity mines as the Dune FAV, making it super dangerous. Oh, yeah, and it can also survive upwards of 27 missiles. The Insurgent Pickup Custom has once again the exact same proximity mines and a machine gun mounted on the roof. A minigun is the exact same as the Dune FAVs, so nothing special there. That's the same thing for the Menacer as well. Both of these vehicles feature the exact same minigun. The only thing that kind of sucks about them is that as the driver, you can't easily swap into the minigun seat. You actually have to exit the vehicle, hold the enter button. So for my remote, I have to hold the Y button, and then eventually my character will climb into the secondary seat, and then he's going to hop out and then hop into the minigun. So it's a little bit lame, I'm not going to lie. The minigun, it's all right. It's good if you have somebody else with you, but in general, these weapons aren't going to do all too much, so that's why I choose the Insurgent Pickup over the Menacer, because the Insurgent has proximity mines that you can drop out. The weaponized Tampa is probably one of the most usable miniguns, because you can actually use them yourself. You can drive around and just, use the miniguns and blow up a Sand King off in the distance just like that. And not only is it a remote minigun, but it also has missiles, which you can absolutely devastate cars with, which is obviously really, really dangerous. The only problem with these missiles is that if your vehicle is too close to the ground, you can see sometimes the reticle kind of like dips down. And, well, what happens is that you can blow yourself up really easily. The weaponized Tampa does not have any bullet resistance. It's not an armored vehicle, so while it does have a really dangerous platform to shoot its minigun and front-mounted missiles, it can be a little tricky. It also has the same mines that the Insurgent Pickup Custom, the new FAV have, and it has a rear-mounted mortar, which I guess I could have shown, but honestly, the rear mortar is kind of useless. It's more just of a, ooh, I've got this, rather than actually being pretty capable. We have the Ignis. You might be wondering why the heck I have the Ignis here. Well, that's because I play on PC and I don't have access to the weaponized Ignis. But if you do play on next generation console, you can basically make a minigun mounted on the back of this vehicle, which is pretty sick. It does a lot of damage, and it's basically the same thing as the weaponized Tampa's minigun. However, it's only able to go at an arc of like 35 degrees to the left and to the right, if I'm not mistaken. Still pretty dang dangerous, though. We have the Vigilante, which is the first missile homing firing vehicle we have. So this can shoot homing missiles, really, really dangerous homing missiles at that. It can shoot them pretty quick as well, as we can see. And it has a rocket boost going for it on the back. It's a supercar, so it's pretty fast in general. The Vigilante's biggest weakness is that it cannot survive any explosions, which is a big problem when there's a lot better weaponized vehicles out there. We have the Kanjali, which has a lot of weaponry. First of all, it's a tank, which means it survives a lot of explosions. And not only that, but it has a minigun on the roof, which compared to the main gun really is a minigun. But yeah, it's got a minigun on the roof, it's got 2 grenade launchers on both sides, and it's got a railgun. Now the railgun actually does the same damage whether you spam it like this or if you hold it. The only difference is that you can shoot further. We can see that shot there is a lot further in distance compared to that shot. So that's kind of cool, I guess. The railgun in general is a really cool mechanic, and the Kanjali does a lot of damage. It drops the same proximity mines as the Insurgent Pickup Custom, but the only way to actually use the secondary or other weapons is to have somebody else in the vehicle, which is kind of useless if you ask me. We have the Terabyte, which has 2 things, I guess, going for it. First of all, you can store an Oppressor Mark II in the back, and more importantly, the entire back compartment here lifts off, and then you can use it. You can actually see when we shoot it, it kind of jumps around, and that's because it's a missile salvo battery, which is pretty sick, and you can use that while inside of the vehicle. We have the Technical. The Technical Custom is really cool. It's obviously got this machine gun mounted on the back, which works just like any other vehicle, and you also have proximity mines that you can drop. The Stromberg has front-mounted machine guns and missiles that you can shoot, which are very cool. It can also survive upwards of 3 explosions, which is really, really nice. So, in general, the Stromberg is an absolute beast. We have the Vapid Speedo Custom, once again featuring a remote minigun. We just went over this one for the weaponized Tampa, and now we have the exact same minigun for now the Vapid Speedo Custom. It also drops the same proximity mines we can see here, so if those proximity mines get shot or ran over, they will blow up. I like the Speedo Custom. It's not my favorite vehicle in the game, but it does have a lot of advantage over the weaponized Tampa. First of all, it's got bulletproof glass, and it has armor that actually works on the front. The only problem is it, once again, can't survive any explosions. If it could, it would be so amazing, but still, it's one of the better weaponized vehicles because of that minigun, because of the fact that it has proximity mines. It's just a little slow, which can be somewhat unenjoyable. We have the Scramjet, which has the largest boost in the game. In fact, to show you this boost, we just drive over here, and yeah, this thing has a really, really long speed boost. The only problem is it takes a while to actually get your speed back, so you don't really have that much of an advantage over something like a Toreador or a Vigilante because of how long it takes to get that speed boost back, but still, it's really fun. It has missiles, which is obviously epic, and these are homing missiles, so in general, the Scramjet is pretty dangerous and an absolute beast. We have the Ruiner 2000, which is the first weaponized homing missile vehicle that was added into the game. The Ruiner 2000 has homing missiles, and they're pretty dangerous. It also has the ability to jump into the air. It has a parachute, which allows it to stay in the air pretty long. In general, very fun vehicle. It's not nearly as expensive as it used to be as well, which is very nice. It's not my favorite car, but it's very, very viable, especially if you use the VIP fully loaded work. Now, this is a really underrated weaponized vehicle, especially for people that don't have too much money. This is the Pounder Custom. And the Pounder Custom features, well, a little missile battery that you can just launch into the anything, really. You can see I just destroyed that Sand King in the background there. And these missiles are fast. Like, these things have a lot of distance, and they are really, really quick. The reason I really like it is because of the fact you don't need to swap into a seat. You know, the APC, you still need to change seats to use the weapons. This one, you don't. It does have downsides, though. It's too tall to actually fit under some bridges in the city, and it's slow. It only survives 0 explosions, unless you're doing a sail mission. So, in general, it definitely has a lot of sucky parts. Also, there is one other weaponized vehicle I didn't add into the list, which is the crap, it's the Mule Custom, and it's useless. I almost forgot the name of it. That's how useless it is. The Mule Custom is the middle vehicle in between the Vapid Speedo Custom and the Pounder. It has missiles on the front. That's about as exciting as it gets. I can't really recommend for anybody to buy it. We have the Cerberus. This is a really cool vehicle. It has a flamethrower. I mean, what else should I say? Flamethrowers are freaking epic, and the fact that this thing has a flamethrower is really cool. It also can use landmines, but they're not explosive, so kind of useless. But yeah, it has a flamethrower. It's not the most useful weaponry, but I figured I'd still add it to the list. And then we arrive to the Oppressor and Oppressor Mark II. Both of these motorcycles can fly, although the Oppressor's is more gliding rather than flying. It has homing missiles, which is obviously really, really nasty, but they're not nearly as dangerous as something like the Ruiner 2000, Deluxo. Ooh, I just absolutely smashed onto the ground there. But yeah, the homing missiles are not nearly as capable as something like the Ruiner 2000's features or any of the other weaponized vehicles. And same for the Oppressor as well. The Oppressor does not feature nearly as dangerous homing missiles as something like the Deluxo, which is a little bit of a bummer. However, it's also a good thing because this vehicle was a little too overpowered. So yeah, the Oppressor Mark II has the same capabilities as the Oppressor. The difference is that it can fly, which is a lot better, and the fact that it just hovers in one spot. It also has flares, which you can see will distract missiles. Flares are super, super good, and they will allow you to live a little bit longer. In terms of weaponized vehicles, the Oppressor and Oppressor Mark II are some of the best in the game, and even though they're old, trust me, they are still very gold. Now we arrive to the Deluxo, which is another really, really solid weaponized vehicle. It, just like the Oppressors, has the ability to fly, and we can see that right here. You just get right into flying mode and you're off into the air. It has homing missiles, and as I mentioned before, these aren't your grandma's Oppressor homing missiles. These are insanely dangerous and will instantly lock onto something in front of you, and with very little hesitation, blow them up. So yeah, I really, really like the Deluxo, and the only thing I don't love about it is that it's kind of slow, and now that the railgun has been added into the game, the railgun just kind of nukes it out of the sky very quickly, so that is something to keep in mind. We have the Barrage, which can survive not only multiple explosions, but has a minigun on the front and a grenade launcher on the back, which is pretty sick. I can't really say there's anything amazing about the Barrage, but it's a cool vehicle. We have the Kara, which has a minigun mounted on the back, and same for the Limo. Oh, and we got one other useless machine gun mounted vehicle. Not even a minigun, just a base machine gun, being the crap. It's so useless, I forget. It's the Armored Boxfill. That's what it is. Yeah, the Armored Boxfill, bro. It's so useless. Even the glass on it... Oh, actually, no, I take it back. The glass is somewhat bulletproof, but I still don't see any world where you'd ever buy this vehicle. It is a complete waste of time and money. Okay, we have a very cool vehicle. This is basically the technical custom, but instead of being a custom variant, it doesn't get, you know, the landmines or anything, but what it does get is these pontoons on the side, and because you can see that boat motor on the back, it's able to literally go in the water, which is pretty epic. We have the Chernobog. It's cool. There's nothing really special about the Chernobog apart from the fact it has these missiles on the back, but it's still a fun vehicle. And then we arrive to the final weaponized vehicle for today's video, which is the Toreador. Toreador is obviously really, really cool. It has a rocket boost, which allows it to accelerate really quickly up to speed, and not only that, it has the ability to go underwater, just like the Stromberg, and it features homing missiles. It is the only weaponized vehicle in the game that features unlimited homing missiles, which is really, really cool. It can also survive multiple explosions, which is also epic. So, in general, the Toreador is one of the best in the game. Out of all the weaponized vehicles, I can say most of them are pretty mediocre and just feature a mounted minigun or something like that, but definitely some of them are really, really good and might pique your interest. So, as always, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did and you'd like to see more content like this, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye! Also, kind of crazy my missile didn't actually blow up that Sand King and went under it. Oh, that's great.